Have you ever considered getting involved in real estate investing but found yourself short on knowledge, time, money, or credit? Well, in this video, we're going to discuss what I have found to be a very profitable and proven path to help new individuals get involved in real estate or existing individuals expand their real estate, all without losing their family and, most importantly, increasing their income. I'm Jay Massey. Welcome to Cash Flow Diary, the channel where we discuss business, money, real estate, and especially the sharing economy. I've had the privilege of owning hundreds of houses, apartment buildings, commercial buildings, and even cell phone towers. And now we've decided to focus on helping you grow your real estate empire, leveraging real estate strategies like short-term rentals using sites like Airbnb, HomeAway, VRBO, and others. So if you are ready to grow yourself, your mind, and your wallet, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so that you don't miss any video that we put out. Okay, so you've considered getting involved in real estate investing before, and you may have found yourself missing, I don't know what to do, you don't have the money, you're like, man, there's not enough time in the day, or where on earth am I going to get the credit? Well, what I've found is a strategy known as short-term rentals. You may be familiar with sites like Airbnb, HomeAway, VRBO, etc., but those are just the marketplaces. I want to talk to you about the strategy, why it works, and most importantly, the 3 phases your business will go through in order for you to begin to build a very strong and sustainable as well as profitable real estate portfolio. So, what is a short-term rental? Very simply, a short-term rental is just a simple repackaging of time. For example, as a traditional landlord, what we would do is we would go out there, we would rent one location to one customer for a period of 12 months using one document. Well, interestingly, if you are willing to be a little bit more efficient with the time, you can charge a premium. Let me give you a very, very quick example. Many of you are familiar with going, say, to a wholesale store like, I don't know, Costco or some sort of store where you can buy 24 cans of a drink or 24 bottles of water all at once for one price. Well, interestingly, if you've ever looked at a vending machine, the same concept is there. It's the same 24 bottles of water. However, because the vending machine operator placed it in a very convenient place for you and I, what happens is that now the water is cold and it is served individually and they charge a premium. And from that premium, they make their profit. Again, it's the same water, it's just repackaged and delivered with more convenience. And this is the exact same strategy that you can use when it comes to leveraging real estate in a short-term rental space. So here's what I mean. Instead of leasing to one customer for 12 months, you may lease to multiple customers from anywhere from 1 day up to maybe even as much as 6 months, depending on the type of customer, especially if they're a corporate customer that you are leasing to. But when you're doing that, you have the ability to charge a premium because you're going to provide more convenience, things like internet, electricity, and making sure that there's furniture that's there already as well. So now that we're done talking about what is a short-term rental, what I want to talk to you about are the phases of a short-term rental business and how it leads you to putting yourself in a position to be able to own as much real estate as you desire. So here's the idea. Phase 1. In phase 1, what you're really learning is simply how to run a business, because that's one of the biggest things that I have watched real estate investor after real estate investor completely forget is the fact that they are still running a business. Here's the challenge. When you say you want to get involved in real estate investing, there's so many things to learn on that learning curve that it can become very, very challenging to do all at once. Plus, you have the added pressure of just saving up tens of thousands and in some cases hundreds of thousands of dollars for that initial down payment. That took a lot of time, blood, sweat, effort, and tears, and we want to make sure you get the most value out of it. So this was the situation for me. I was looking at getting involved in short-term rentals because I had done, like I said, the apartment buildings, the houses, cell phone towers, all those things. And I was like, hey, let's try this new thing. And I was going to do what I normally do and buy another house. The challenge is to buy the particular house in the neighborhood that I was looking at, plus the rehab, etc., etc. It was going to cost up to $100,000, and I was going to have one house. Now, in a traditional sense, that's probably not too bad, but for those of you in other states, also understand I'm talking in California terms, okay? Because I know some of you can get $100,000 and you're like, dude, I can buy multiple houses for that. I got that. We're not talking about that right now. But here's what happened, is I started to do the math, and I began to realize that instead of going to buy one house, I could probably find a cheaper way to control multiple locations and turn those into short-term rentals. So the challenge was figuring out how to find the location, then making sure that I could evaluate the lease properly, then finding the right equipment to put in as we move in, take photos, properly market, then we could begin operations. But that's phase one, is learning those business tactics that are required to fill any property that you ultimately go own, but now you get to learn them with significantly less risk. And that's the whole point. When you're in phase one, you're just learning how to run a business in smaller bite-sized chunks with significantly less risk, so that when you go out to the marketplace, you actually have a shot at turning a profit without having to put too much money up front. Then you get to phase two. Phase two is where it gets actually exciting and a whole lot of fun, because now that you know how to find the right place, put the right furniture in it, serve the right person, clean, etc., now you have to ask yourself this following question. If I had 15 cleanings in one day, how would I do it? If I needed to buy 100 sets of bed linen, or if I needed to make sure that I could provide simple, easy access to my locations remotely, how would I do it? See, what we begin to talk about in phase two is a whole bunch of systems, and systems what set you free. Systems set you free. You and I, in order to be able to deal with today's economic environment, we have to own or control the means of production. And he or she who either owns a system or invests in systems wins. Period. Hands down. The challenge is how do you and I get control, own, or build a system without breaking the bank or going time broke? So when you're in the middle of phase two, you have a number of systems that you've got to begin to establish and learn how to run and scale. You've got your cleaning systems, you've got your maintenance systems, you've got your appointments and reservation systems, communication systems. You may even need a repair system at some particular point. And hopefully, one day maybe you actually get multiple units at a time. Maybe you get an entire building offered to you. So now you need systems that help you do procurement and purchasing, so that you are able to buy a whole bunch of beds and a whole bunch of couches and a whole bunch of many different things all at the same time. Your entire business gets run on systems, and learning and taking the time and being given the time in such a way to where not only can you learn the systems, but you can learn to make your systems your own, make them better, and most importantly, put yourself in a situation in which not only are those systems running well, but you also have the ability to take those systems and scale them and learn to how to input the right people in the right positions and build a really good team that goes out there to achieve a business objective. And then, of course, you get to phase number three. At phase number three, here's what happens. Phase number three, you now have enough short-term rentals running that are giving you what is known as free cash flow on a monthly basis, such that you begin to plan your real estate purchases. So for example, let's go back to what I was talking about at the beginning. There was $100,000 available to be able to go out there and purchase one house and do some renovations, etc. And again, I still was going to have to furnish it after that. But let's take that same $100,000. If you take that same $100,000 and let's just say for the sake of this example, you buy 7, 8, 9, 10, or you have 7, 8, 9, 10 different short-term rental locations that you can control without having to purchase them, then now you're in a situation in which that collection that you just acquired has the ability to keep spinning off another $100,000 every 10, every 12, or maybe even as long as every 18 months. See, I don't know how long it took you to save up that initial down payment, but what I do know is this: once you've spent it, you have to save it up again. And if you only have one source of income, that can take a long time and feel like forever before you build any sizable real estate portfolio that you would actually like to own and control and hopefully one day retire from. So with this method, with these 3 phases, you now have a very clear plan. And most importantly, it's not all dumped on you at once. Here's what I mean. Typically, this is what I've seen across the thousands of students and investors that I've been in front of. Here's what I've seen. You finally save up the money, you suddenly find a deal or what you think is a deal, and now you've not only got to learn how to find it, fund it, finance it, you got to learn how to manage it, put the team together, and you've got a very short escrow window with which to do it, and it can feel overly stressful. And what this has done, with these 3 phases, you'll be able to spread all of that learning out so that you do now have the adequate knowledge to put this thing together. And because you're in phase 2 and you're building the right systems, you'll have all the time that you need. And because you have built a business, you'll be able to build that credit, credibility, and most importantly, the cash as well. If you like information like this, again, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button or leave us a like, and definitely check out some of the other videos that we have to offer as well. Until next time.